You want Stetson Bennett to do what if you're Ohio State? You want him doing what? If Stetson Bennett, I mean, a super athletic quarterback, you try to contain him. Young quarterbacks, you want to run all type of disguises and try to confuse him. Stetson Bennett, I think we had it in the chat. He's older than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it's not all about how many games has he played, just the age and maturity. Now, of the four guys, he's the most mortal of the four quarterbacks in the playoffs. But if you're Jim Knowles, what do you think he's been preaching, or what do you want Bennett to do? And you're like, if we get him to do these type of things, we walk out of here with a win.
So I'm going to look at it through the Georgia side. What do you need Stetson Bennett to do? All right. You mentioned one of them. He's an old guy. He's been in this game before in a playoff, and even been in the next one and won it. Yep.
Valuable.
So you use that maturity and whether it's your age or just your experience, and bring everybody down a notch. Calm everybody down. Be looking at it on the sidelines. I want him real active on the sidelines. And then from a playing standpoint, I don't need you to make the big play, dude. You got personnel that can make all the plays for you. Personnel nightmare for an opposing defense with the tight ends that they have and the way that they can shift out and go put their hand in the dirt and everything like that. Just hit the open guy. Simple as that. Go through your progressions, make your reads, pick the correct side on quick game, take a deep breath and make your pre-snap reads correctly, and just go out there and operate the game like you've been doing for the last 2 seasons. Don't try and be a hero now when you're back in the spotlight. So that maturity and just that, hey, let's first downs into touchdowns mentality, I think is going to be very important. Now, if you're Jim Knowles, do the opposite. Get pressure on him. Force him to try to make the home run play. Try and make Georgia one-dimensional so that he's going to have to make plays with his feet, his arm, and everything else. Because like you said, he's the mortal one. They've got superheroes all around him. He's the mortal one. So if you want to get in his head and make him feel like he's got to make all the plays, you got a shot if you're Ohio State.
I want to roll this to both of you before we roll it to Michigan and TCU. Who is your non-quarterback X factor in this game? This guy will tilt the balance for you, Hack. This guy will tilt the balance for you, Trevor. For Ohio State and for Georgia.
Hack, go ahead.
Man. Oh, that's so tough. I think Ohio State's stable in the running back room is back to full health. And I think that they're going to have to get some explosive plays. Not to take away, I really do think that defensively, Ohio State needs to be able to force Georgia. Georgia is so dependent, and even their personnel, it's so dependent on them being able to work off of play action. And that's what creates space and problems for the tight ends, because the linebackers and safeties have to worry about run responsibilities and then cover these guys who are freak shows down the field. So, let's take all that out of the way. I really think it's going to come down to offensively for Ohio State, like Trevor said, being able to run the football, be two-dimensional, pose a threat there. They have home run ability in that backfield. I with a healthy stable, I expect that backfield to be the focus for me, the X factor, Ohio State's backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor?
I'll say this. I know we want to keep pointing the finger elsewhere, but the strength of Ohio State outside of their quarterback is that receiver room. And so I think an X factor is Marvin Harrison Jr. The way he's bursted on the scene, the plays that he's made. Don't try and go elsewhere in a game like this. Sure, you need to be, like we've talked about, but he's still going to need to make big explosive plays for them to win this football game. So he is the definition of an X factor for me.
That's Ohio State and Georgia locking horns here in the primetime game. The primetime game. I think they're the second game of the back-to-back 8 p.m. That'll be exciting. Can't wait to see what the ratings number is going to be on that. Just seems like all of America rolls right inside to go see these heavyweight matchups. Buckeyes draw. Ohio State 6.5-point dogs. Trevor, quickly, who do you got?
I got Georgia winning this football game. I think it's going to be phenomenal, but the experience that Georgia has, I've talked about it before, the been there before factor, if you will. That is a huge deal. Not to mention, I think that Kirby Smart has really come on the scene as that coach that has figured out the formula to repeat the guys, to buy into the system, and to keep it going. So I like Georgia in this game.
Score.
I'm going to go Georgia with a 7-point win. I think they're going to score some points. I'm saying 42-35.
Oh, interesting. Hack.
God, man, this is so hard because my gut's telling me to go with the dogs. My gut's telling me to go with the dogs.
As a voice, but then I'm gonna
look like a Big Ten homer. And it's no disrespect to Georgia, but I personally want to see a Michigan-Ohio State rematch for the national championship. I think America wants to see that. So I'm going to go with Ohio State, and I think it's going to be a very slim margin, might be 3 points, something like that. I do think that there's going to be points scored, maybe like a 38-35, 32-35 type of ball game. But I got Ohio State winning this game 38-35. I'm going with the dogs.
That's the exact same thing I have. Same team, same outcome. Hopefully it's a field goal and with some drama, maybe even overtime. That'd be great. 38-35, I have the exact same thing. Ohio State wins that.